Jamal, do you think you could just move that chair over a little bit? Yeah, because it's covering Krishna's pastime. You see that? Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajajanaranyana Yashodanandana Prajajanaranyana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Cham Vishwapad Paramamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotrashata Sheshamad is Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj srimadbhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories of the assembled devotees, all glories of the assembled devotees, all glories of the assembled devotees, all glories of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, titled Creation of the Fourth Order. And we're Chapter 2, Daksha curses Lord Shiva, text 20. Oh yeah, okay. Vigaya Shapam Girishanugagranir Nandishvaro Rosha Kashaya Dushitaha Dakshaya Shapam Visa Sarja Darunam Ye Chanvamodang Tad Uvachyatam Dvijaha Vigaya Shapam Girishanugagranir Nandishvaro Rosha Kashaya Dushadaha Dakshaya Shapam Visasarja Darunam Ye Chanvamodangstadavachayat Ye Chanvamodangstadavachayatam Dijaha Vigaya Shapam Girishanugagranir Nandishvadorosha Kashaya Dushataha Dakshaya Shapam Visasarja Darunam Ye Chanvamodangstadavachyatam Dvijaha Big chant. Word by word. Vigaya, understanding. Shapam, the curse. Girisha, of Shiva. Anuga Agranihi, one of the principal associates. Nandishvara, Rosha, anger. Kashaya, red. Dushitaha, blinded. Dakshaya, to Daksha. Shapam, a curse. Visasarja, gave. Darunam, harsh. Ye, who. Cha, and. Anvamodan, tolerated. Tat avachutam, cursing of Shiva. Dvijaha, brahmanas. Translation. Upon understanding that Lord Shiva had been cursed, Nandishvara, one of Lord Shiva's principal associates, became greatly angry. His eyes became red, and he prepared to curse Daksha and all the Brahmins present there who had tolerated Daksha's cursing Shiva in harsh words. Purport. There's a long-standing dissension among some of the neophyte Vaishnavas and Shaivites. They're always at loggerheads. You know that term? Loggerheads. When Daksha cursed Lord Shiva in harsh words, some of the Brahmins present might have enjoyed it because some Brahmins do not very much admire Lord Shiva. This is due to their ignorance of Lord Shiva's position. Nandishvara was affected by the cursing. But he did not follow the example of Lord Shiva, who was also present there. Although Lord Shiva could have cursed Daksha in a similar way, he was silent and tolerant. But Nandishvar, his follower, was not tolerant. Of course, as a follower, it was right for him not to tolerate an insult to his master, but he should not have cursed the Brahmins who were present. The entire issue was so complicated that those who were not strong enough forgot their positions, and thus cursing and counter-cursing went on in that great assembly. In other words, the material field is so unsteady that even personalities like Nandishvara, Daksha, and many of the Brahmins present were infected by the atmosphere of anger. So what is this Nandishvara? What does that mean? The name? Nandi, yeah. That's what I was thinking about, but who's the Nandi? Yeah, Shiva's bull, huh? Nandishvara Das. Nandishvara Das. So I'll just read one more. Anyone who has accepted ye etanmartyam udishya bhagavat apitirudhi doryat agya pritagdishtis tatvato vimukupavit. Anyone who has accepted Daksha as the most important personality and neglected Lord Shiva because of envy is less intelligent and, because of visualizing in duality, will be bereft of transcendental knowledge. So this is Nandishvara's curse. He's starting to curse. Purport. The first curse by Nandishvara was that anyone supporting Daksha was foolishly identifying himself with the body. And therefore, because Daksha had no transcendental knowledge, supporting him would deprive one of transcendental knowledge. Daksha, Nandishvara said, identified himself with the body like other materialistic persons and was trying to derive all kinds of facilities in relationship with the body. He had excessive attachment for the body and, in relation to the body, with wife, children, home, and other such things, which are different from the soul. Therefore, Nandishvara's curse was that anyone who supported Daksha would be bereft of transcendental knowledge of the soul, and thus also be deprived of knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So tomorrow's text is 22. Oh my God, Itivarandasya Gananjana Shalakya Chakshalan Vitamina Tasma Shri Gurve Namaha Mukam Karivachalam Pangam Nagate Grimya Pipatam Ham Vande Shri Gurundin Tarinam Vancha Kapadabishak Vasinabhya Patitanam Pavnibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Shivasi Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So within America, they have many things are going on, but one thing that's going on, they have a broadcasting, like a television station where it has all these preachers. Usually they're Christian preachers, different types of Christian preachers. And some of them are, you could say, some of them are good and they're spot on, and some of them are a little fanatical, you're going to hell and all the, fire and brimstone type of talks. And some of them are kind of funny because, they get up there and they say, oh yeah, Jesus blessed me because whatever, I got a new BMW in my driveway or whatever, I got this, I got that, I won the lottery. And they seriously say those things. And also people, they get up and, give their testimonies. So what is a cursing, right? Or they have a saying, one man's, one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? So what sometimes we consider trash, or sometimes what we consider trash, another person's treasure, right? Depends on how we see it. So when we're hearing about cursings, what is a curse and what a blessing? So Nandishvara is cursing Daksha and his people that you'll be bereft of transcendental knowledge. And that's, we also will agree that's a curse. If I was to curse Hasagram, you'll be bereft of transcendental knowledge. You will have no understanding you're the soul. I mean, that's quite a... And if I actually had the power to do it, I mean, he'd be in trouble. So that's what Nandishvara is doing. It doesn't say. But later in the next few verses, he curses the Brahmins. It says that you'll be cursed to wander in the cycle of birth and death. So that means for some time. Yes. So yeah, what is a curse? What is a blessing? I mean, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was there at the, when he was there in Mayapur, it was a Brahmin, and the Brahmin was upset, as far as I remember, that he couldn't get in to the Srivasangam, because Srivasangam, they have the big nightly kirtans, but only super qualified, pure devotees could go there. So this Brahmin was upset that, they're not letting me in. And then later, when he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, I curse you. And you know what the curse was? What is it, Hasagram? No more material happiness. And then for a lot of people, that's a curse. I mean, no more material happiness. Oh my God, what am I going to do with my life? What's my purpose now? But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy. So, okay, thank you. So, so what some people consider a curse, we may consider a blessing. Just like the Srimad Bhagavatam says, right? Krishna says in the Srimad Bhagavatam that when I really favor someone, I take away everything, right? I take away everything, and they lose their money, and their family members are not so fond of them anymore, and like that, right? And then people say, oh my God, is that a curse or is that a blessing? And then Krishna is saying, but that's a blessing. Because at that point, of course, that doesn't absolutely have to happen in all cases, but Krishna does mention it. But it's a blessing because then what else does that individual have to depend on besides Krishna? Because that's the general, disease in the material world, is that people are dependent on so many things artificially besides Krishna, right? Whatever it is, the health, the wealth, the followers, the friends, the family, so many things we could be dependent on besides Krishna. So sometimes Krishna, he'll take all this away, and then we have nothing besides Krishna, and then we have to surrender. So it's a form of mercy. And here it's saying that Nandishvara was he was upset, when Daksha was criticizing Lord Shiva. And Prabhupada says that this is correct. So that's correct when our spiritual master, or when devotees are criticized, then we could speak up. I mean, we may not curse, we may not, curse the people, but we should speak up and we should say something to counteract or what they're saying. So that's quite normal. And that is actually a symptom of love, that we have some love for the person. So sometimes people will wonder, why is Prabhupada rallying on the Mayavadi and personalists? Why is he, he almost seems angry, right? He's up there in the Vyasan and very fiery. Yes, he is, because he loves Krishna, and they're all saying how Krishna's, deaf and dumb and blind and lame, crippled, and that's not true. That's false. So if I was to say to, they have those horrible, you'd see the nature of people in Kali Yuga, right? They have, mother jokes, right? Mom jokes. I don't know if they have that in India. Probably have it now, but in America, it's, I don't know how long-standing it is, but it's a tradition, right? In elementary schools, the rascal boys criticize the other boy's mother. You know, mother jokes. What do they call it? Your mama joke. Yeah. So. Yeah. There's more innocent ones, and there's more, you know, not innocent ones. No, that's okay. So, and you know, people could get really upset about that. You know, there might be some fights too. That's probably why there's some fights in the school. So. So they're criticizing someone you love, and so someone does that to Krishna, right? Or if someone does that, you say that about somebody's mother. Oh yeah, she's deaf and she's dumb and she's, you know, blind and she's lame and, you know, this. Practically just saying she's, yeah. So similarly, people, the Mayavadis and others, are doing that to Krishna. So naturally, devotees get upset and they speak out. So Nandishwara here is speaking out against Daksha and what he's saying. So that's quite normal. So what's going on is here is he's cursing him to lose or to have no transcendental knowledge. And later in the verses coming up in the purports, it's going to be described more that that yes, they're going to be attached to material happiness, to materialistic household life. These are all curses. He's cursing them. So, in fact, this is actually what happens to everybody. We may have not been cursed, you know, formally by Shiva's followers or whatever, Krishna's followers or anyone. But what actually we do is we actually curse ourselves, because by not actively going and striving and endeavoring with great determination for the mercy of the devotees and the mercy of Krishna, we're actually cursing ourselves to be exactly in this position: no transcendental knowledge or lacking transcendental knowledge, attached to material life. So we're actually cursing ourselves. So this is the challenge that devotees, aspiring devotees, people aspiring to be Krishna conscious, they have to deal with this. That I have cursed myself, you know, to be quite honest, to be a fool. And there's different, you could say, aspects of people's foolishness. And one aspect is there's this word, what is it? Diabolic? Is that what it is? Yeah, diabolical. That means devilish, demoniac, like that, wicked. So there's a you know, diabolical part of us, right, that has to be killed or uprooted or removed. And there's also an animal part of us that also has to be uprooted and killed and removed. You know, and for a very long time, you know, this is the place where these things go on, right? This material world. But you know, people think that, oh, if I just wholeheartedly engage my animal propensities, eating and sleeping and mating, defending, the more liberated I am, the more, you know. And, you know, there's certain animals that very nicely depict these eating, sleeping, mating propensities, right? Like eating, you know, the example's given of a hog. The hog eats indiscriminately, whenever, wherever, whatever, as much as they can, right? And nasty things. And sex is the pigeon or the monkey. Sleeping is the bear, right? And defense is, I don't know, dogs are quite defensive, always barking, this and that. So, it's not that, the more I act like a monkey, the more free I am. No. The more people act like a monkey, the more they're like a monkey. The more they're like an animal. And it's not that, the more I engage, monkey is also sex, a lot. The more I engage that, the more free I am. No, the more that you're like an animal. And so whether it's and same with, the sleeping, the more you're like a bear. The more you're like the more we're like a hog. The more people are like a hog if they engage in these things indiscriminately. So it's not that the more they let these things go, the more liberated they are. No, that's not true. That's false. But nonetheless, people don't think about these things most of the time, and what to speak of conquering them? No sense of conquering them. Because they don't even think of them. They just think about how to engage them. So in other words, they're struggling with that problem. But also, it's not that, but also devotees sometimes are struggling with those problems. So in other words, it's a challenge to conquer over that. They have there's a point that some thinkers bring up is that in order to get free from a particular problem, you have to want to first. Now that could be a problem, and why is that a problem? Because we don't know we're bound. But another point is that maybe we just don't want to, Like getting to the stage of actually wanting to, that's a challenge in and of itself, right? Because everything around us is urging us to not do that, urging us to go the other way, or urging us to be a fool, urging us to be a godless fool. So to come to the platform of Krishna consciousness is a little challenging, even to want to. So those are some things, the you could say the animalistic tendencies to conquer over, that devotees and people should realize that they need to conquer over. And then there's you could say the demonic side, the side that we want to be free from God, from God's influence, from God's authority. We just kind of want to do it our way, whatever that might be. So those are things that we need to overcome, and again, that's what we really put ourselves into, that situation. We weren't formally cursed, but we cursed ourselves. And for example, when I was probably, 6, 7 years old, I was in elementary school, and I lived in Oregon for some years, age 5 to 10, and there it was Halloween time. So then, what they do, probably in a lot of elementary schools, at least in America, is that everybody dresses up. Yeah, they dress up, right? Dress up in all different types of things. They do that in Russia? No? Okay. Maybe they will start. But anyway, so I dressed up, and I dressed up as Frankenstein. Right? So I painted my face green, and I think there was some type of mold that made your head look like Frankenstein, some type of thing. Yeah, the bolts. And I had the outfit on, and I was looking like Frankenstein. Why, is Frankenstein convincing? Oh, okay. Maybe. Okay. So, but it's like, okay, I put that on, right? I put that on, that outfit. But did I actually become Frankenstein? You know? No, I didn't become Frankenstein. I mean, maybe I looked like him, and maybe I was in the mood, right? But I didn't actually become him. Just a temporary thing. So yeah, the soul takes. So similarly, the soul takes on all different types of bodies, right? And they identify that with that, but it's illusion, you know, to think that that's them. So whether it's a man or a woman or a dog or this or that, it's illusion. To think that that's our position. But nonetheless, whether people think about it or not, they're actually quite convinced, you know, that that's who they are. This is who I am. They're convinced. So the same conviction that people have, that they're their physical bodies, and you know that the goal of life is sense gratification, and that, you know, people are very enthusiastic about these things, actually, like supremely enthusiastic. So if we could just have like just a tad, even a pinch, what to speak of a lot, of the conviction that people have in mundane life, we could actually do a lot for good, a lot of good for ourselves and for everybody, for the world. So we should, conviction that I am not this body, conviction that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, conviction the goal of life is Krishna consciousness, conviction that people are suffering. You know, if we don't have conviction people are suffering, then how are we going to preach? Because we're not convinced people are suffering. Therefore, sometimes we lack desire of preaching because we don't understand that people are suffering. So that conviction has to be there. I mean, just like in the case of Bilvamangala Thakur. I mean, Bilvamangala Thakur, he was attached to a prostitute, a Chintamani. And you could say it wasn't a healthy attachment. It wasn't a moral attachment. It was an immoral attachment, unhealthy attachment. But it was intense and extreme, the amount of attachment he had. So there's a story, explain the famous story, right? That he was going to see her one night or one evening, and it was raining, and in India it like really rains. It's raining, and then he had to cross a river, and then in order to cross the river, he like latched onto a dead floating body, and then he got across the river, and then he was climbing a wall, and I think he used a snake or something. In other words, he was just like fearless and convinced. Okay, I'm going to see her. He probably hurt himself, you know, falling off the wall there, you know. Yeah, wet, scratched, tired. And then he went and knocked on the door, right? And he said, "Oh, I'm here." And then she said, she probably looked at him a little shocked, like, "What on earth?" So she looked at him and said, "If she said, oh, I can't believe, if you had as much determination to see me as, if you just had that determination to see Krishna, or to be Krishna conscious, you'd be a pure devotee." And then from that, he something registered in his mind. It clicked in his mind, and then from there, he went off to Vrindavan. And then going to Vrindavan, he stopped off at a house, and still somehow or other he was overcome, and he was quite shameless actually. He was overcome by lust, and he stopped at a Brahmin's house, and it was him and his wife there, and he was just so shameless and overcome by lust that the Brahmin asked, "Oh, what can I do for you?" And Bilvamangala Thakur, I mean, can you believe what he said? It was just like really. He said, "Oh, I like to, you know, have relations with your wife." You know? And then the Brahmin, I mean, this is also quite. You know, he said, "Oh, you know," he agreed. He said, "Okay." You know, the wife apparently agreed to, And Bilamangala Thakur was there, and the wife was whatever coming in, and then he realized. He said, "Oh, I'm such a rascal." He said, "I can't believe I've stooped down to this level." And he, so he's going back and forth in his consciousness, right? And then he says, "Oh, my dear lady, can I see the hairpin in your hair?" And then she says, "Yes." And then he takes the hairpin and he removes his eyes. He goes. So, and it doesn't exactly explain what happens after that. I don't know. They rush him to the hospital, but eventually he goes to Vrindavan.
Krishna leads him by hand.
Yeah, Krishna leads him by hand. He goes to Vrindavan, and he becomes a pure Vaishnava. He becomes a pure devotee, and he becomes such a pure devotee that he could see Krishna regularly. I don't know exactly how much all the time, but he had personal darshan of Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself would read what Bilamangala Thakur wrote, the Krishna Karnamrita and other books. So that's the point that I was trying to make earlier, that if we just have a little bit of determination, what materialists have for getting money or whatever they're trying to do in their life, we could actually make a lot of advancement. And we do that, practically speaking. We just have to associate a lot, and a lot, and a lot, and some more with Prabhupada in the form of his books and devotees to kind of, shake us up, snap us, wake us up, snap us, whatever, snap us up, whatever. I don't know. That doesn't make sense, but just to enliven us in devotional service. And then gradually we'll become convinced, and this will be very beneficial for ourselves and the world. So does anyone have any? Yes?
Well, first off, completely accurate, very nice question.
Thank you.
But we don't want to follow Bill.
Yes, of course. Of course.
It's obvious.
Yeah, we don't want to follow that. No.
I did have a question, although you hit it at the end. My question was, you were saying that sometimes we don't even want, even with maybe a devotee, we don't have desire, to actually make the next step, to move forward, and firm ourselves up. So I was wondering, like St. Anthony, who was a wealthy, he was a religious Catholic in Italy, and he wanted to become a pure devotee, and he used to pray, "Oh God, please give me chastity."
Yeah.
Just not yet.
Yeah.
So how to develop that willingness if we're happy in our willingness?
Yeah.
Although you did say you have to associate more and more and then associate more, so you did give an answer.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I was just reading that recently, actually, about that. St. Anthony said he was a young man, and he said he was praying, "Oh, God, please make me, chastity," right? But he said he was saying that with his lips, but in his heart was secretly saying, "But just not yet," So, yeah, sometimes, developing that desire. We have to develop that desire. Practically speaking, right, they have that saying, Sadhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shashtra Koi, Lava Mata Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. So that associating with devotees, even just for, 1/11th of a second, all perfection could be attained. So the devotees actually, Srila Prabhupada, his followers, they're actually very special individuals in that they have a particular special power that could influence people. So, practically speaking, we have to somehow or other come in contact with devotees, and then from that contact, that's actually how everything manifests. That's how everything happens. In the Nectar of Devotion, it says that even a glance of a pure devotee, the glance, there's like a special, something happens there.
Arrows from the eyebrows. Eyebrows from arch and glance like arrows that pierce the heart.
Yeah, so there's a special power that the devotees have. I mean, in the Bhagavatam it says that people who saw Narada Muni in the pastimes of Nalakuva and Manigriva, says just by seeing Narada Muni they become purified. So the Vaishnavas, they have a very special power in order to influence, or like Narada Muni. I mean, Narada Muni goes around and he picks up all the wonderful devotees, and picks up all the people like Mrugari, the hunter. So there's a special Shakti, bhakti Shakti or preaching Shakti that devotees have. So we should also develop that. That's the point, because in order to help people, we have to have that, or else we can't really help people. I mean, to some degree we can. We could take them to somebody who could help them more, but if we develop that, then we could better help people. Yeah. Well, Prabhupada, he would always stress, right, following the four regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds, avoiding the offenses as far as possible, that offenseless chanting, striving for offenseless chanting. And, right, Nityam Bhagavat, here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, practically speaking, taking our sadhana and our services very seriously, sincerely. Yes. Yeah. I mean, you could imagine Chintamani's words. I mean, obviously she was, it does not explain, how much of a devotee she would have, but obviously she was conscious of Krishna to some degree. And then she said that, and and there's so many cases like that. Someone will just say something. It may just be one sentence or one word, and it just kind of shocks us, and then we change our behavior. So it's quite amazing. Like I said that about some time ago about that devotee who was attached to smoking cigarettes, and then he was getting his hair cut one time, and then the woman who's cutting his hair said, "Do you smoke?" He said, and then he was thinking in his mind, "Oh my God, how does she know?" I mean, because he smoked outside, and then he bathed and put on new clothes and all this stuff, and then it was still somehow that she knew, and then she just chastised him over and over. You shouldn't be doing that. It's bad for your health, and it's bad for your kids. It's a bad example. And then after that, he walked out, and his first immediate urge was to, he put a cigarette in his mouth, And then he said, then he just heard this woman's voice in his mind, and then he kept that cigarette in all day long, without smoking it, because each time he'd smoke it, he'd think about that woman and how she was saying that, And then that was it. He just gave up cigarettes. That was the last time. So, I just wanted to say one last thing, because Dev Amrita Swami is coming, and I heard this really. He's supposed to come tonight, and then he's going to be here tomorrow to give the Sunday feast talk. No, I don't know that. Okay. So, I guess my Guru Maharaj was recently associated with Dev Amrita Swami, and my Guru Maharaj has an email list, so he sent something out, and he said that he was speaking with Dev Amrita Swami, and Dev Amrita Swami was mentioning something about his mother, this exchange he had with his mother. So his mother said to Dev Amrita Swami, she said, "You know what I was thinking about when I was conceiving you?" And then Maharaj said, Dev Amrita Swami said, "No, I don't." And then she said, "I was praying to God that he would send me a servant of his. I was praying. No, I didn't say God. I was praying that a servant would come. From God. And then Maharaj told her. He said, oh well, I guess to some degree, partially, your wish was fulfilled. And then she immediately said, oh, but I meant Jesus, And then David Mita Swami said, so you got to be more specific. Yeah. Yeah.
Because previous children had died, so they had some habits. It was serious. Maybe they didn't do that. But that if you dress the child as a priest and pray that the child is a priest up to a certain age, then the child won't die. So she prayed that. She forgot all about it, but she was chastising him for becoming a devotee. He said, hey, pray for it. She said, well, I meant for Jesus. He said, yeah, more specific.
Yeah, it's interesting. Both similar. I don't know. It didn't say when. Maybe it was recent. Maybe it was old. Yeah, I don't know. So, all right. Granted, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.